This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Joining us today is Professor Richard Conroy, the chairman of Conroy Gold, and also joining him and us today on Stockbox is Kevin McNulty and Andrew Murrels, senior geologists at Conroy Gold. So very pleased to be talking to all three of you today. You've got some stuff to show us, I know. But first of all, Richard, you were at PDAC recently, again with the two guys with you. Just give us a feel, if you can, for generally the vibe at PDAC, what people were saying, how well it attended it was, but also, any interesting discussions that you had, particularly with Conroy Gold.
Well, PDAC is really back to its full form now, with well over 20,000 people at it, all the major companies, very many other companies, the manufacturers, really a tremendous various institutions and so on. It is probably the main mining congress of the year, and was certainly back to its full vibrancy and attention. And we found ourselves extremely busy. We have a booth there, and we usually get quite a good attendance at it. But this time it was just continuous, because of course we have these magnificent results which have come in terms of volume and in terms particularly of the excellent grades. So it was a very, very busy show with a lot of people coming to talk to us from all aspects of PDAC. So we're really, really very well pleased with it, and very busy, totally exhausted afterwards, because it goes on right through the day. You're on your feet the whole time talking with the people who are coming along, and there was a steady stream. And in fact, the difficulty was there were so many people coming for all of us to be able to cope with them. But on the other hand, it's a very nice position to be in with this gold district that we have, with the excellent results, and now the second trend coming up. So it was really, as many people actually said, transformational for the company. We're now in quite a major, totally different position than we were even a matter of weeks ago.
Indeed. Well, of course, we spoke a few weeks ago. You were very excited about the huge grades that you were getting there. And of course, recent news does suggest that there is a second trend. You've applied for further licenses. But before we discuss that in a bit more detail, I want to just go to Kevin, first of all. And I believe you have a rock that you can show us that you potentially also took to PDAC that probably attracted a lot of attention.
Absolutely, Mark. Thanks very much. Yes, I don't know if you'll be able to see it very clearly here on the screen, but in those red circles there is free gold, visible gold that we brought from this quartz breccia. And this material grades up to 123 grams a ton. Mm-hmm. So as I say, it's absolutely fantastic. And this is part of our new gold trend within our license area and the application areas where we've applied for 5 new licenses.
Wow,
which, increases our ground holding significantly. But the significant thing is that these grades, we haven't seen these grades before in our project area. And they're fantastic, absolutely fantastic. As I say, up to 123 grams a ton. And then some of the other samples up 76 grams a ton. But yeah, the guys looking at the rock out of PDAC were pretty excited to see some Irish gold. I don't think many people have actually seen visible gold from Ireland. So,
well, visible gold from a geo's point of view, that's really significant, isn't it, to get visible gold?
Yes, it is, absolutely. And it means that the processing of that rock is going to be fairly straightforward.
Okay.
So it has not only exciting for geologists, but also it has implications economically as well. And of course, the grades, those grades are absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah. I mean, what kind of discussions did you have with any particular people or companies, interested people at PDAC?
Yeah, I think going out and talking to the guys there, and actually they were coming to us rather than us going to them, which was great and great to see. But seeing the new trends, so they were aware probably of our first major gold trend, which we had identified 65 kilometers length in it. And I think we're one of the few companies in the world that actually has such a large ground holding. But to have identified a second trend And even one of the major companies said to me, well, where's the third and fourth trends now? So, as I say, we're excited going forward and seeing what's happening.
Well, we talk a lot to Richard about the activities at Conroy Gold, and Richard mentions a number of times a district scale. And of course, your recent RNSs there, you're talking about new gold target at County Monaghan. You talk there about 2 trends. I mean, how big is this thing? Can you elaborate a little bit more on this discovery of a new trend?
Well, this discovery is a second trend. It's just over 20 kilometers south of the first trend. As I say, the first trend we've identified 65 kilometers. On one portion of that, we already have 500,000 ounces on a small portion in the Clontibret area. We've just done some drilling at Clay Lake, where we stepped out over 200 meters and got an intersection of 40.5 meters at 1.2 grams a ton, which was great. In Clontibret, we're growing it. We've been doing some drilling to the north there to link into Corgaskey, where we have 16.5 meters at 6.5 grams a ton. So that's all pretty exciting. But then on top of that is this new trend, so to the south, and it's got free gold in it with grades, as I say, which are, as I say, jaw-dropping, to be precise, 123 grams, and visible gold. I haven't seen visible gold in the project before, and it's very rare that geologists actually get to see visible gold in the projects. So it's a very nice thing to have.
Exciting, certainly. Andrew, let me just get your thoughts then as well. You're a geologist, so visible gold, how do you feel about it? And of course, overseeing the operations at Conroy Gold, how are things going generally? Are they going to plan? The joint venture partners happy?
Yes, things are progressing very well. It's great to have the joint venture with us and moving. Very excited with this new discovery. Very interesting to have a new area to focus on. So we're all very excited about that and advancing it forward.
Excellent. Well, I wonder, Richard, I don't know if it's possible to sum up the activities that are going on, almost put it into a nutshell, because we've talked about this district scale a number of times, and there's lots of different things going on, I believe. You've got step-out drilling, you've applied for new licenses, there's drills going on. Are you able to sort of summarise, or maybe someone else if it's more appropriate, where the activities are at the moment and really what you're trying to do? Because as I understand, you're really in the stage of trying to put more pieces into the jigsaw to find sites that could potentially host a minehead.
Well, we've a lot of sites already that could host a minehead. I think now that we have the financial backing, of course, things are really beginning to accelerate and move very rapidly. And even so, we didn't expect results to be as fantastic as they have been. But a small company, as we have been up until now, would be absolutely delighted to make a discovery of a gold deposit, a significant gold deposit, as we did at Clontibret. But to be in a situation in which we not only have one gold deposit, but a whole series of other targets, many of which are certainly going to turn out as deposits. And it's most unlikely that Clontibret, even though it was the first, will be the biggest. Highly likely, for example, that Clay Lake, slightly to the northeast, will be much larger than Clontibret, and there are another series of targets. But now that we have the funding and the backing and the joint venture moving ahead, we're able to look at the overall picture, which we couldn't do previously. We'd have loved to have spent the money, but it wasn't there. Now it is. Now we're in progress. And we're in the very fortunate position that because people weren't looking at Ireland as a gold district, despite the great history historically of gold in Ireland, we have been able to acquire pretty well the entire district, about 500 square miles. That's a large area, and particularly so when you have a whole series of targets. Indeed, many of the majors, companies coming and talking to us, you mean you have the entire district? And we say, yes, we have, because they're used to doing a joint venture involving with a junior company for it to be on a single deposit. And there's another company 3 miles away and so on. We have the lot. And now we're able to move on this. We're able to move on Clontibret, and we've made this tremendously exciting connection between Clontibret and Corgaskey, which in itself transforms Clontibret, on which, as Kevin was saying, we already on a small part of it have 500,000 resource. So, that is really, really tremendous just on Clontibret alone. But over and beyond that, we have a multiple of that, and that we're able to go ahead now, as Kevin was saying, and on Clay Lake, and we've got some very nice results that have just come out with a 40-meter continuous stretch of gold at over a gram a ton is very, very nice. And then as well as that, we're able to put in probing trenches and probing drill holes on the number of the other targets. They're not all going to come up, but the likelihood is that quite a few of them are. So it's really absolutely tremendous. And I haven't even mentioned the fact that we have a second trend discovered as well. So it really is transformational. We already thought we were transformed there a few weeks ago with the most recent results coming in of the new trend and all the rest of it. We've made a total step change in the sort of position that we're at. And we saw that in the number of people from major companies, from institutions and others coming to talk with us and with my good colleagues, Kevin and Andrew, and our other colleagues who are there at the PDAC, which is the big mining show of the year. You're in full competition there with everyone else from all over the world. And yet we probably had more people coming to our stand than pretty well anyone else had. So it was a very nice feeling. Kept us busy, but, a nice sort of business. Very happy with it. And it's absolutely transformational. We look ahead, and certainly it was taken very much on board out in Toronto. I'm not sure if the message has got through over this side of the Atlantic yet, but no doubt it will. It really transforms the company, transforms its position, and is absolutely magnificent. We're thoroughly delighted and pleased with it.
Well, I can see you all look very, very happy, very pleased with the. The smiles say an awful lot, which is great. I just have one final question. You talk about the bigger picture, of course, and getting an understanding of this district scale. You've got the 500 to half a million ounces already resource at Clontibret there. But what is the ultimate objective or end result of the joint venture here? Because they will have presumably allocated funds for a certain period of time, for a certain amount of activities. When you get to the end of this process with them, where do you want to be? Where do you both want to be?
We want to have a series of mines coming in. It's the declared public primary aim of the joint venture is to bring in a mine at Clontibret or elsewhere along the trend. And it's already very evident that you can bring in a mine, a traditional open pit mine at Clontibret, but it now looks as though it could be far bigger than originally envisaged. As well as that, it looks as though Clay Lake is going to come up over the horizon very rapidly. And then as well as that, we're going to have a series of other targets for the coming years. So it is a great position to be in and to have the finances to back it. And who knows, there may well be further major companies wishing to take some share or something of that nature. But that's all for the future. But the great thing now is that we're moving ahead with a mine. That's the object of the exercise, is to bring in a mine. But in our case, is to bring in a series of mines. It's a fantastic position to be in and to have the funds to back it up. Already in the initial phases that we're working on, you're talking about spending $5.5 million in the first phase, which is what we're doing at the moment, another $5 million in the next phase, and then an open-ended amount of money on each project as we bring it in. Our joint venture partner will be covering all the costs of that, which will run into, I would guess, another $5 to $10 million. And on each project, it will be the same situation in that we will own 60%. And they will own 40% unless they actually move ahead with a given project, which they'll be doing with Clontibret, and I'm sure with Clay Lake, and I'm sure with a number of others, in which case, in each project, they can move up for paying all the costs to bring it as far as the mine construction stage, and that earns them 57.5%, but we're still able to retain 42.5%. It is, as indeed many people said at the show, both this time and more particularly last year when we announced the joint venture, an excellent joint venture. It's a very, very good one for a company. Often they would be very glad to be able to hold on to 5 or 10 or most 15%. We've got 42.5% on each project. And that's what we'll be moving towards, bringing in a mine at Clontibret, probably bringing in a mine at Clay Lake, and possibly bringing in other mines. Well, we will be bringing in other mines in due course along the trend. And of course, it's all sorts of financial implications as well. For example, we will probably have a processing plant for one or two of the deposits rather than an individual processing plant for each mine. So the whole series of advantages. and also the fact that we're in an area where there's an excellent infrastructure. You've got power and electricity. You have got roads. You've got all sorts of things, which is not the situation. Not only somewhere in Africa, you may have to build the road and bring in the power or use generators. It's the same situation in most of Australia, most of northern Canada. So there are tremendous financial, economic, structural advantages that we have, as well as now having also the tremendous potential in terms of ounces and in terms of grade.
Well, it's very good to hear that things are progressing as planned. And as you say, the joint venture deal is a good deal. You've got the backing there with the objective to bring in a mine at Clontibret and potentially other mines as well. It's great to talk to all three of you today and feel your enthusiasm and get more of an understanding about what is going on. And also great to hear about the interest you received at PDAC. That interest may be not seen in London at the moment, but that is a common theme with companies I speak to who even have projects out in North America, but they're listed in London. The London markets don't tend to understand, let's say, the exploration space as well as North America, but it's hopefully just a matter of time. So thank you very much, all three of you, Richard Conroy, Kevin McNulty and Andrew Murrels from Conroy Gold, for joining us today.
Good to talk with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.